Now on CoastTV News.
Offshore wind saga continues, the latest in the effort to bring wind farms to the coast. Lewis Growth details about a proposed development that could transform a historic Lewis location. War of words, President Trump slams Putin over relentless assaults on Kyiv.
One more dry day for Delmarva, then the rain returns on Wednesday. Lingering showers for the rest of the week into a part of the weekend. I'll track the rain on Futurecast coming up next.
This is CoastTV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has the day off. Thank you for joining us for our 6 o'clock hour. And I want to check in with First Alert meteorologist Bob Trahey. Bob, your New York Knicks play tonight. How are you feeling ahead of that game? You guys won the last one on Sunday. I hope you're feeling a little bit better.
I am, Elisa. I'm feeling pretty good. They're road warriors. They're doing pretty well on the road so far in Indianapolis. So if the trend continues, then maybe another W for tonight. We'll have to see. Anyway, we're looking at cold conditions this morning. 47 in Gumboro, Dagsboro, 49 in Georgetown. So it is chilly out the door. Make sure you grab that heavier jacket. 48 in Ocean Pines, 59 in Ocean City. A little warmer at the beaches, 53 in Rehoboth, while Bridgeville right now is at 50. So it's a chilly morning, and the winds are calm right now, so that's good. As we have high pressure over the top of us, we have some mid to high level clouds building in, and they'll be getting thicker throughout the day as we have overcast skies to our west and even rain now building into Virginia and West Virginia. But this will be bumping into a lot of dry air, so I think a lot of this will evaporate before it gets here. But I think that rain will be building in as we go through the overnight hours as high pressure will slide away. And we're looking at low pressure developing to our south and west, and that will give us a really wet Wednesday on the way. But today we're just looking at increasing clouds, and 7 a.m. it's chilly. We're in the 50s with the filtered sunshine, and that'll be the case through the morning hours as we slowly warm through the 60s. By noon, upper 60s inland areas, I think maybe around 70 early afternoon before temperatures start to fall again. At the beaches, not a beach day. We're looking at temperatures only in the low to mid 60s there this afternoon with the clouds and an onshore flow, just not very inviting to go in the water. And we're looking at mid to upper 60s mid-afternoon with those temperatures sliding down a little bit as the clouds are getting thicker this evening and the wind starts to pick up off the ocean. Ferry riding forecast for today, lots of clouds, some sun this morning, temperatures in the 60s but feeling chillier with the wind blowing off the ocean with temperatures in the upper 60s as we go into the afternoon. Tomorrow is a yellow alert for rain, a messy day. I'll have much more on that coming up a little bit later in the newscast.
Thank you, Bob. Our top story this half hour, the Delaware Environmental Appeals Board will hold a hearing for an appeal that challenges the Delaware Coastal Management Program's review of the U.S. wind offshore wind project for Maryland. Officials say they will look at the federal consistency certification. The appeal filed by Edward Bintz disputes the state's conditional concurrence with the project's construction and operations plan, as well as permits and authorizations issued by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. As a part of the appeal, Bintz is also seeking a motion to compel the Delaware Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control to release the full scope of the project's record. This is taking place in just a few hours at 9 a.m. at the Denmark Building in Dover or online. And this comes as Ocean City is rejecting U.S. Wind's $20 million investment to support local commercial fishermen. That's the company that wants to build that offshore wind project off of our coast. And Mayor Rick Meehan says, quote, just as we have stated that Ocean City is not for sale, the Watermen's Association has clearly responded that they are also not for sale, end quote. U.S. Wind says that money would go towards grants and harbor maintenance. And in Fenwick Island, the town is looking at a New York court case to block the wind farm project off of our coast. The town says an agency decision says the Trump administration is ordering the agency pause a project set to happen in that state after, quote, serious deficiencies in the Bureau's permitting process. The order also states that all of the agency's other projects are under review, including those on Delmarva. Happening today, another Sussex County development is up for a public hearing. Lewis officials are set to discuss Roosevelt Landing at the old Lewis Dairy. The proposed subdivision would create 8 single-family homes and is located at the site of the Lewis Dairy on Pilot Town Road. Council will tackle this hearing today, and some people who live by say they are sad to see the dairy go, but also they're fine with the size of this development.
At least that's small. You know, not going to create that much traffic, and not like some of the larger building areas. I hated to see the dairy leave, really, because had been there for so long, but you know, everything changes.
And tonight's public hearing will take place at 5:30. And Lewis Dairy has been around since the 1920s. The dairy actually moved to Millsboro in 2017 to be in more of a central location. In 2023, archaeologists dug at the site to try to uncover traces of a 17th century Dutch fort ahead of this Roosevelt Landing subdivision. A traffic update for drivers in Lewis. DelDOT says shoulder and lane closures will start today for Comcast fiber splicing. The agency says roads impacted are Savannah Road, Old Orchard Road, West Coates Road, Marsh Road, and Clay Road. The closures will begin at 9 p.m. tonight and last through 6 a.m. on Wednesday. You're looking at a lot in Milford between 111 and 115 North Walnut Street. This could soon see big changes. And now you're looking at the actual lot. And new this morning, developer Zach King could be looking to make changes to his original plans. Earlier, we reported that King wants to build a 4-story mixed-use building with up to 16 apartments focused on affordable housing. Well, now, according to the agenda for tonight's Milford Council meeting, the conditional use application is being withdrawn, and officials will discuss this tonight at 6 o'clock. Also in Milford, city officials will hold a budget workshop ahead of the start of the new fiscal year. According to the agenda, officials will discuss expected revenue. Officials will also take a look at draft budgets for city council, and this workshop will take place tonight at 7 o'clock. Happening today in Georgetown, possible updates to absentee voting. According to the agenda, officials will hold a first reading of an ordinance that discusses what situations absentee ballots are allowed and other organizational changes. Also at that meeting, officials will hold a second reading for an ordinance relating to the comprehensive plan for the future land use map for over 21 acres of land. The town says it received an application to change the area from single-family residential to mixed residential. This will take place tonight at 7 o'clock. And we are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C., a new war of words between President Trump and the Kremlin as tensions grow over the war in Ukraine. President Donald Trump is making it clear he is losing patience with Vladimir Putin, leveling some of his sharpest criticisms at the Russian leader as Moscow continues to pound Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities with drones and missiles for a third straight night. NBC's Bianca Ficini shows us what this could mean for the future of fighting in that area.
Absolutely crazy. Emotional. These are the terms U.S. President Donald Trump and the Kremlin use to describe each other these days. The war of words erupting days after Russia launched several deadly attacks on Ukraine.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin.
Following the president's comments, a spokesperson with the Russian government said Trump might be dealing with, quote, emotional overload. It's a significant shift in tone from just last week, when Trump had a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin that he said went, quote, very well, and included discussion on ending the conflict with Ukraine for good. Meanwhile, Ukraine says Russia launched over 700 missiles and drones Sunday, killing at least 18 civilians, including children. One Ukrainian resident says, let the world wake up and see. How long can they bomb children? Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is urging the U.S., Europe, and, quote, all those around the world who seek peace to impose sanctions on Russia, writing on X that they would serve as a guaranteed means of forcing Russia not only to cease fire, but also to show respect. But Putin isn't the only leader Trump currently has harsh words for. On his website, Truth Social, the president writes, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it, and it better stop. In Washington, Bianca Ficini, NBC News.
We are just getting started in this hour of CoastTV News today. We still have a lot more news to get to this morning. Coming up, meaning of Memorial Day, we'll tell you how people in Salisbury took time to honor lives lost. In crab price chaos, we'll tell you how some business owners say prices are making it hard for them to sustain customers. And from abandonment to abundance, we'll tell you the new development after these chicks were rescued from a shipping mishap in Delaware. All that and more as CoastTV News Today continues.
It is 6:11 on this chilly Tuesday morning. Bay Health Cam showing clouds increasing across the area. High clouds right now, 55 in Dover, but we've got a lot of places in the 40s right now. Salisbury 48, Gumboro, Dagsboro 47, 49 in Georgetown. So it's a chilly morning. Have that heavier jacket. We've got some 50s at the beaches, and the winds are calm now as we're under high pressure, so the clouds are increasing. We stay dry today with filtered sunshine, but there is moisture gathering back to the west. We're seeing rain now from Virginia into West Virginia. A lot of this will dry up as it gets here today, but I think we'll see that rain increasing as we go into tonight, especially tomorrow. So get that golf game in today because this is the last dry day. So I'd say pretty good conditions out there. Cloudy, a little on the cool side, and a high this afternoon around 70.
Happening today, bulk trash pickup in Fenwick Island begins. This will take place today through Thursday, and the town says to make sure items are collected, place everything curbside by 10 p.m. on Wednesday, May 28th. Tires, appliances, shingles, concrete, propane tanks, helium tanks, paint and yard waste like branches or trees will not be collected. An update this morning, First State Animal Center says thousands of chicks rescued from a shipping mishap have now been adopted. This after Delaware's Department of Agriculture says more than 10,000 chicks, ducklings, and other birds were found abandoned in boxes. We now know the state says the chicks came from Freedom Ranger Hatchery in Pennsylvania, and some were shipped as far away as Washington. First State Animal Center says most of the chicks were adopted by locals, families, farms, and other rescues. Meet AI Gemini, who represents the first ever artificial intelligence ink artist in the world. Artist Victor Wong says he attached the robotic arm to a paintbrush, and an algorithm interprets data which directs the robotic arm to paint mountain contours to form a landscape on a thin rice paper traditionally used for painting. Since launching the robotic artist, Wong says paintings at his exhibitions have sold for around $20,000. McDonald's is closing down its beverage-focused spinoff, Cosmix. McDonald's announced all 5 locations will be closing at the end of June. Its app will also be discontinued, and the restaurant chain opened Cosmix in 2023 in response to fast-growing specialty coffee and beverage chains. Named after a little-known alien, McDonald's character, Cosmix menu consisted of sweet drinks and light snacks. The McDonald's CEO says some of those drinks inspired by Cosmix will be tested at some franchises later this year.
We're taking a live look right now at the Irish Eyes Cam and Lewis, seeing some increasing mid to high level clouds, filtered sunshine this morning. Temperatures in the low 50s. We're looking at one last dry day as the clouds thicken up today. A yellow alert for rain Wednesday. It looks like a soaker, and showers linger for the rest of the weekend, part of the weekend. I'll have those wet forecast details coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 6:16, and we are taking a live look outside at Dover this morning. And Bob, we've had some beautiful sunrises this morning. Here is another one. It's definitely good to see. It sets the tone for a good day, I think, when you see some beautiful sunrises on our cameras. But I know we're expecting rain in the next couple of days, unfortunately.
We are, yeah. We are, Lisa, and enjoy the sunshine this morning because that's when we're going to see the most sun, and then that sun will be fading behind clouds as we go through the day. Then we'll see rain chances increasing, I think, as we go into tonight. Widely scattered showers, and then it's going to be a washout on Wednesday. We now have a yellow alert Wednesday for rain, heavy at times, maybe a rumble of thunder. It's going to be a messy day. That rain continues into Wednesday evening. Then it becomes more kind of showery Thursday, Friday, and then I think now it's spilling into a part of the weekend as well, and then drying out Sunday, but chances aren't zero. So we're looking at a pretty unsettled pattern on the way as we have 2 areas of low pressure we're watching, one across the Ohio Valley and then a secondary one across the North Carolina, Virginia coast. And this one will take over, making it pretty miserable as we go into tomorrow with rain, cooler conditions, and onshore flow. Now, I think the stormy conditions stay farther to our south through Virginia and the Carolinas. I can't rule out a rumble of thunder, but mainly rainy and raw. That's going to be the weather theme for tomorrow. Today, though, it's a chilly start. We've got 46 in Willards, 49 in Georgetown, Dagsboro, 47. So it's chilly with 40s and 50s, 59 in Ocean City, Bethany Beach at 53. Winds are calm. We have high pressure overhead as the clouds are increasing, mid to high level clouds now. And they'll continue to get thicker as we go through the morning hours as we have high pressure over the top of us right now. We are watching moisture moving through the Ohio Valley into the Tennessee Valley, seeing some rain through West Virginia and Virginia, but I think this will be drying up as it heads our way, because with high pressure over the top of us, still a lot of dry air to overcome. But eventually it will, and we'll see that rain later tonight. But low pressure developing here, another area of low pressure across the Midwest, and then we're looking at a lot of rain now from Louisiana down into the Texas Gulf Coast area. So here's Futurecast this morning. We're increasing the clouds, temperatures slowly rising from the 50s into the 60s mid-morning, around 61 in Bethany Beach, Millsboro 64, mainly cloudy by the noon hour, and this is probably the time we see temperatures hitting the high for the day, upper 60s to around 70 inland areas, but low to mid 60s at the beaches. So if you're wanting to get in the ocean today and looking for a good beach day, today's not the day. We're looking at low to mid 60s there, an onshore flow, very chilly conditions, and then thicker clouds in the afternoon with temperatures slowly falling through the 60s. The onshore flow picks up tonight. We increase some moisture, and we're going to start to see rain breaking out very early tomorrow morning. Looks like a washout for the morning rush hour. Temperatures upper 50s. Some of that rain moderate to heavy, ponding on the road. So make sure you keep that in mind. And a very raw day on the way tomorrow. Periods of rain, moderate to heavy at times, and some thunderstorms possible, but that's mainly south. But the main threat is the heavier rain and just kind of a washout and a raw day with 50s and maybe some 60s. And then the heavy rain moves out in the evening hours. Get a little break as we go into Thursday, but more is on the way. Just some general storms possible. Not looking at severe weather tomorrow as the showers continue as we go into Thursday and then into Friday. Still a chance of showers, and we could see actually another system developing, bringing steadier rain later Friday and on into Saturday, keeping it really unsettled and finally drying it out into Sunday. But a lot of rain on the way, maybe an inch and a third to close to 2 inches of rain spread out over a few days. So I don't think we're looking at big time flooding problems, but normal temperatures as we go into the first few days of June. So that'll be good to see. And then after the first week of June, I think we're actually going to see summer-like temperatures. Today, 70 in Georgetown, 68 Millsboro, 70 in Laurel with increasing clouds. Easton and Cambridge around 72, Vienna around 72, and around 70 in Salisbury, but upper 60s from Chincoteague to Ocean City and Berlin as well. Paul, they have a 7-day forecast. There's a yellow alert Wednesday for the steady to heavy rain, 64, upper 70s to end the week. More showers Thursday, more rain Friday. I think that lingers into Saturday, upper 70s. Make sure you have a plan B there. Drying out Sunday, mid 70s, and then close to 80, 79 on Monday with partly cloudy skies.
Bob, seafood business owners are noticing people are not buying crabs. They say the demand has not been high this season. A bushel or half a bushel of crabs can range between $100 and $250 depending on the size. However, Cole's Seafood says it's still a luxury for most, so owner Bruce Cole fears prices will have to drop as the season continues.
It's some demand. It's not outstanding right now, but some demand, and they're buying, I see more with credit cards and less cash. You know, and that tells me money's not all there, you know.
And Cole Seafood says business during Memorial Day weekend was also slow for sales. Up next, meaning of Memorial Day, we'll show you the event that took place in Salisbury on Monday. Coast TV News will be right back. In Salisbury, people gathered at the War Memorial outside of the Wicomico County Civic Center Monday morning to honor service members who gave their lives serving our country. The names of 191 of Wicomico's own fallen heroes were read aloud during the annual ceremony. Salisbury American Legion Post 64 Commander Bill Hagan says he wants more people to observe Memorial Day, not just Memorial Day weekend.
They gave it all up for all of us standing here today. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't have a country. You know, they went away and they defended this great nation. And I'm proud that they did and sad that they lost their lives doing so. A lot more than about hot dogs and hamburgers.
And the Wicomico War Memorial was completed in 2003 and was funded entirely through donations. Members of the War Memorial Committee, all who are veterans themselves, say they are still reliant on donations to maintain the memorial for ceremonies in years to come. Summer crowds are back, and that means so are the Beach Patrol's Ocean City lifeguards. Started May 25th, and they will be on duty daily from 10 a.m. to 5:30. Rehoboth Beach Patrol guards are also on duty, and they will be on watch from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays and 9:30 to 5:30 weekends and holidays. And Dewey Beach guards patrol daily from Memorial Day to Labor Day from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Bob, regardless of the temperature, those lifeguards, they're out there on the beach. I don't know what they prefer. When it's cooler outside, they can put on layers, or when it's super hot in the sun. I don't know what I would prefer either. I don't know.
You know, I think, yeah, you start with the layers in the morning and then peel off accordingly throughout the day. And make sure you swim where those beaches are guarded. Very, very important. Now, today, the rip current threat is low. The UV index is moderate. Waves around 1 to 2 feet. Chincoteague and Assateague, it's going to be increasing clouds today with temperatures in the lower 60s. So pretty cool. Not the best beach day for sure. Water temperatures around 60. Fenwick Island and Ocean City, you're looking at temperatures into the low to mid 60s this afternoon. And the next 3 days, changes on the bay side, 70 in Cambridge today, and then a cold rain Wednesday, 64, some showers Thursday. Similar conditions in Crisfield, maybe just a little cooler, 69 today, 65 with rain tomorrow, and then 73 on Thursday. I still think we're looking at some scattered showers. So the rest of the weekend, into a part of the weekend, I'll have more on your forecast coming up in just a little bit.
Break on CoastTV News today. Big building, a big decision. We'll tell you about the possible change for a project proposed for downtown Milford. In dairy development hearing, we'll tell you what to expect from a public hearing on a proposed development in Lewis today. An offshore wind debate deepens. We'll tell you about the latest appeal for the proposed coastal project. CoastTV News today. We'll be right back.
Now on CoastTV News.
Offshore wind saga continues, the latest in the effort to bring wind farms to the coast. Lewis Growth details about a proposed development that could transform a historic Lewis location. War of words, President Trump slams Putin over relentless assaults on Kyiv.
One more dry day for Delmarva, then the rain returns on Wednesday. Lingering showers for the rest of the week into a part of the weekend. I'll track the rain on Futurecast coming up next.
This is CoastTV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Penzick has the day off. It is almost 6:30 on this Tuesday morning. It's back to work and back to school for many after the holiday weekend. And we're now going to bring in First Alert Meteorologist Bob Trahey to look at our morning forecast that is a lot cooler for this time of year. Good morning, Bob.
Oh boy, yes. Good morning, Elisa. A lot cooler for this time of year. We've had this for days now, and this morning is no exception. Look at this out the door for the kids and the adults. You'll have to bundle up a little bit. A little chilly for this time of year. 46 in Willards, 49 in Millsboro, the same for Georgetown, Gumboro, 48. 51 in Milton, 60 in Ocean City and Indian River Inlet, so a little milder at the coast. Thankfully, the winds are calm, so we're not looking at wind. We're under high pressure right now, and we're looking at clouds beginning to increase across Delmarva. We'll see filtered sunshine this morning and then thickening clouds into the afternoon with those thicker clouds soar west. Even rain now from Charleston, West Virginia into Roanoke, Virginia. One area of low pressure across the Tennessee Valley, another one across the Midwest. And eventually, the rain heads our way. It's going to take a while. I don't think it moves in until tonight, as high pressure will kind of whittle away at that rain as it tries to head our way. Futurecast this morning shows the thickening clouds, temperatures rising from the 50s into the 60s. By the noon hour, 68 in Georgetown and Millsboro and Delmar. I think we'll hit our high temperatures probably early afternoon when we're still seeing that sun peeking through. Not the best beach weather. We're looking at low to mid 60s as we go into the afternoon. So if you're looking for, some favorable weather to go in the ocean, today's not the day. It's going to be cool. The winds start to pick up off the ocean with the clouds increasing and temperatures falling through the 60s as those clouds get thicker. But I think we do keep it dry through the evening hours. And for the kids, it's back to school. Time to hit the books. Off to school, 53, dry and chilly. Then heading home, I think those clouds are just a little thicker and only 69. So definitely still on the cool side.
Bob, and our top story this half hour, the Delaware Environmental Appeals Board will hold a hearing for an appeal that challenges the Delaware Coastal Management Program's review of U.S. wind offshore wind projects from Maryland. Officials say they will specifically look at the federal consistency certification. The appeal filed by Edward Bince disputes the state's conditional concurrence with the project's construction and operations plan, as well as permits and authorizations issued by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. As a part of that appeal, Bince is also seeking a motion to compel the Delaware Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control to release the full scope of the project's record. This is taking place in just a few hours at 9 a.m. at the Denrick Building in Dover or online. This comes as Ocean City is rejecting U.S. Wind's $20 million investment to support local commercial fishermen. That's the company that wants to build that offshore wind project here. And Mayor Rick Meehan says, quote, just as we have stated that Ocean City is not for sale, the Watermen's Association has clearly responded that they are also not for sale, end quote. U.S. Wind says that money would go towards grants and harbor maintenance. And happening today, another Sussex County development is up for a public hearing. Lewis officials are set to discuss Roosevelt Landing at the old Lewis Dairy. The proposed subdivision would create 8 single-family homes and is located at the site of the Lewis Dairy on Pilot Town Road. Council will tackle this hearing today at 5:30. And you're looking at a lot in Milford between 111 and 115 North Walnut Street that could soon see big changes. And now you're looking at the actual lot, and new this morning, developer Zach King could be looking to make changes to his original plans. Earlier, we reported that King wants to build a 4-story mixed-use building with up to 16 apartments focused on affordable housing. Now, according to the agenda for tonight's Milford Council meeting, the conditional use application is being withdrawn. Officials will discuss this tonight at 6 o'clock. A traffic update for drivers in Lewis. DelDOT says shoulder and lane closures start today for Comcast fiber splicing. The agency says the roads impacted are Savannah Road, Old Orchard Road, West Coates Road, Marsh Road, and Clay Road. That closure will begin tonight at 9 p.m. and last through 6 a.m. on Wednesday. New this morning, a male suspect is in custody after allegedly driving into a crowd of pedestrians during a parade in the UK on Monday. Reed Binion shows us where that investigation now stands.
In England, celebration and revelry were abruptly and shockingly interrupted Monday evening when a car plowed into a parade celebrating Liverpool FC's latest Premier League soccer championship. Police described it as an isolated incident, saying they were not treating it as terrorism and urging against speculation about the circumstances surrounding the collision. A 53-year-old white British man believed to be the driver was arrested at the scene. Police said they were not looking for any other suspects. Dozens of people were injured, including several children. Officials said more than 24 people were hospitalized, with at least 2 of them having sustained serious injuries. Crews had to free several people from underneath the vehicle, with 20 more treated at the scene for minor injuries. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer called the incident, quote, appalling, thanking police and emergency services for their swift response. After the incident, Liverpool FC said it was in direct contact with police and would continue to offer its full support to emergency services and local authorities. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
A mass shooting in Philadelphia's Fairmount Park left 2 dead and at least 9 others injured on Monday. Police say the shooting happened just before 10:30 p.m. while different groups were gathered in that park. At least 3 of the victims were juveniles, and all of the wounded have been reported to be in stable condition. It is unclear how the incident began and how many shooters were involved. Police say no weapons have been recovered so far. No one has been arrested. That investigation is underway. And we are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C., a new war of words between President Trump and the Kremlin as tensions grow over the war in Ukraine. Absolutely crazy, emotional. These are the terms President Donald Trump and the Kremlin have used to describe each other the past few days. And the war of words erupting days after Russia launched several deadly attacks on Ukraine. Following the president's comments, a spokesperson with the Russian government said Trump might be dealing with emotional overload. It's a significant shift in tone from just last week when Trump had a phone call with the Russian president that he said went very well and included discussion on ending the conflict with Ukraine for good.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin.
Meanwhile, Ukraine says Russia launched over 700 missiles and drones Sunday, killing at least 18 civilians, including children. And we have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere. Coming up, Walking Through History, we'll give you a look at a tradition in Dover that honors those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And more caught in manhunt, the latest development in the search for inmates who escaped a New Orleans jail. And Lewis looks at bike plan. We'll tell you about the possible progress taking place for the committee today. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
Just about 6:40 on this Tuesday morning, increasing clouds, as we can see on the Tyndall's Casual Furniture camera. Kind of cool looking clouds there. 51. The sun is peeking through those clouds, and it's a chilly start. We've got temperatures in the 40s, 50s, and even 60 right now in Ocean City. So make sure you have a heavier jacket out the door. Winds are calm, and those clouds continue to increase. That'll be the case for today. There is rain back to our west, but we have high pressure in place, and that'll dry a lot of this out. But the rain will eventually be building in as we go through the overnight. So if you have to cut the grass today is the day, because it's dry, just increasing clouds. And then with the rain, a washout on Wednesday means poor conditions there. And with lingering showers Thursday and Friday, yeah, well, still pretty poor grass cutting weather. Congratulations to Randy Conlin, and he has a new umbrella from Coast TV and Paul Davis.
An update this morning coming out of Louisiana. 3 more inmates who escaped from a New Orleans jail were captured on Monday. Those inmates are back behind bars after being on the run for 10 days. And now multiple law enforcement agencies are continuing to assist in massive search efforts after 10 inmates escaped from that New Orleans Justice Center.
There is some relief, but the last 2 out are very dangerous as well. So we're not going to give a total sigh of relief till all of them are back in prison.
And with 8 back in custody, police now say 2 inmates are still on the run. Happening today in Lewis, new bike plans could be sent to the mayor and city council. According to the agenda, the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee is set to discuss and could act on a possibly presenting bike plans to officials. Also on the agenda, discussion and possible action on what officials say would be safety improvements to the trail crossing at Adams Avenue. Locals can learn all about this tonight at 5:30. And coming up tonight on DSN, your game of the night at 6:30, it's Stellar fights 60, and then you can catch the final score at 10:30. Today in entertainment news, a close call in Hollywood and a big sale at the Cannes Film Festival. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
Miley Cyrus suffers for her art. The performer said on Jimmy Kimmel Live she had to be hospitalized in November for a brutal infection in her kneecap after filming herself rolling around on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The shoot was for her fantasy pop opera Something Beautiful, set to play in U.S. theaters June 12th. Her album of the same name comes out Friday.
Un réalisateur, une caméra, de la pellicule, un producteur.
Nouvelle Vague was the French new wave of art films, including Jean-Luc Godard's classic Breathless. Nouvelle Vague is also the title of Richard Linklater's new movie, which depicts the shooting of Breathless in the iconic style of that film. The love letter to cinema debuted at this year's Cannes Film Festival, where Deadline reports it received an 11-minute standing ovation and sold to Netflix for $4 million, the most a U.S. outlet has ever paid for a French-language film. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
If you are having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
The canal in Lewis looking like glass. Look at that. It's like a mirror image of the buildings there with the calm conditions, increasing clouds. And we're looking at one last dry day with a yellow alert for rain Wednesday. It looks like a soaker, and then lingering showers for the rest of the weekend. Unfortunately, part of the weekend. I'll have your forecast details in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 6:45, and we are taking a live look outside at Lewis this morning. And Bob, we've had some beautiful scenes on our cameras this morning. Today is the day to get outside because even though it's a little bit cooler today, We're going to have some rain the next couple of days.
Yes, we are, Elisa. Today is the dry day. It's still on the cool side for sure. Then we'll see that rain building in late tonight into tomorrow. Wednesday looks like a washout. It's a yellow alert day for the rain, which will be heavy at times. It's going to be really kind of miserable. We're watching one area of low pressure in the Ohio Valley, another one that will develop along the coast and become the primary low, and that will force an onshore flow that will make it even a little more miserable tomorrow with the rain. And I think any kind of storms will be staying to our south, but we can't rule out a rumble of thunder with highs only in the 60s, and those showers do linger the rest of the week. You can see how rain chances go up tonight, and especially into the likely range on Wednesday, and then more kind of showery regime later Wednesday into Thursday, and I think even into Friday and on Saturday, unfortunately, we could be looking at those rain chances continuing. They do go down as we go into Sunday and Monday. Temperatures out the door right now are chilly. 46 in Willards, 48 in Salisbury, 49 in Georgetown, so you definitely need that heavier jacket or sweatshirt. 51 in Laurel, Bethany Beach 54, Rehoboth at 56. Winds are calm right now as we have high pressure right over the top of us. That's why we had such a chilly morning, but now the clouds are beginning to increase. These are mid to high level clouds, and we'll be looking at these clouds increasing all day, and we're even seeing some rain showing up now across the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley. But with high pressure, there's a lot of dry air in place right now, so a lot of this rain will kind of evaporate before it gets here. But eventually, that rain will overcome the dry atmosphere, and as low pressure gets closer, we'll be seeing the rain breaking out tonight. One area of low pressure across the Tennessee Valley, another one across the Midwest, and even more moisture back through the Gulf Coast from Louisiana into Texas, where they have some big storms. Here's Futurecast at 7 a.m. We're in the 50s. It's chilly. Filtered sunshine this morning, but temperatures slowly rising through the 60s, upper 60s, close to 70 around the noon hour. The sun's still poking through and maybe touching 70 before the clouds get thicker this afternoon. And as that happens, we'll see the temperatures also falling a little bit as we're seeing temperatures at the beaches only into the 60s. I know you're here on vacation. You want some nice beach weather. Boy, it's just not great, especially with the flow picking up off the ocean this evening and temperatures in the 60s with the clouds in place. Then we're looking at some showers maybe around midnight, and then the rain building in after midnight, and then it gets steady to maybe heavy for the morning commute tomorrow with temperatures in the 50s and 60s and an easterly wind. It'll just be raw and pretty miserable for tomorrow. Maybe a little bit of flooding in poor drainage areas, and maybe a rumble of thunder too, as we still see the steady to maybe heavy rain continuing noon till about 3:30. Then we see that start to move offshore. Then it's just overcast and raw as we go into the evening hours. Could see a rumble of thunder, but not expecting anything in the way of severe weather. We're not done with the rain there because I think we're still looking at some showers as we go into Thursday and even into Friday. We could see another system developing to our south and west later Friday that could enhance the rain again as we go into the weekend. Could keep it kind of wet as we go into Saturday. Then we finally do start to dry it out as we go into your Sunday. But as far as the rain goes, definitely copious amounts of rain, about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, and maybe up to about 2 inches. Really depends on your location. But we'll spread this out over several days. So we're not looking at a big flooding event here. And our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, June 1st through the 5th, we're looking at normal conditions for a change. And then I think we're actually above normal as we go into the second week of June with warmer conditions then. 70 in Georgetown today, but only 63 in Rehoboth, Harrington around 70, and then we're looking at 72 in Cambridge, Vienna around 72 with increasing clouds, Prentice Anne around 70, 68 in Crisfield with Chincoteague and Ocean City around 67. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast. Wednesday kind of stands out, the heavy rain with the yellow alert, 64, then upper 70s. Thursday into the weekend, and the rain lingers, especially Friday into Saturday. It dries out on Sunday, and then Monday is dry, partly cloudy, and a high of 79.
Thank you, Bob. At Lakeside Cemetery in Dover, neighbors spent Memorial Day walking through history. The cemetery hosted guided tours honoring local service members who served in both World War II and the Korean War. 16 World War II veterans and 2 Korean War veterans are memorialized at Lakeside. In total, 784 Delawareans died during World War II, 44 of them from the Dover area. The event gave the public a chance to learn their stories and remember the true meaning of Memorial Day.
Their sacrifice is what makes the United States what it is today, and there was never a greater moment than World War II when that was needed.
This year marks the 24th year Lakeside Cemetery has held public tours to honor fallen heroes in Dover. And the time is now 6:51, so we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day. And today's coastal pet of the day is coming to us from the same family as Moosey, who we saw earlier. On your screen right now is Luke, who is sitting pretty. And then we have Goose enjoying some company. We love households with lots of pets. I come from one with multiple pets, so the more the merrier. And we want to see more of your pets. This was submitted to us by Pamela in Lincoln. And of course, keep on sending us photos of your pets. We want to see all of them. And please tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen, scan the QR code at the top of your screen, and submit your furry friend to Coast TV News. Then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all of the pets we feature. It is 6:54, and it's time for the things you need to know before you go. Another Sussex County development is up for a public hearing. Lewis officials are set to discuss Roosevelt Landing at the old Lewis Dairy. The proposed subdivision would create 8 single-family homes. It is located at the site of the Lewis Dairy on Pilot Town Road. Council will tackle this hearing tonight at 5:30. You're looking at a lot in Milford between 111 and 115 North Walnut Street that could soon see big changes. Developer Zach King could be taking a look to change some of his original plans. And earlier we reported that King wants to build a 4-story mixed-use building with up to 16 apartments focused on affordable housing. Now, according to the agenda for tonight's Milford Council meeting, the conditional use application is being withdrawn, and officials will discuss this tonight at 6 o'clock. An update this morning, First State Animal Center says thousands of chicks rescued from a shipping mishap have now been adopted. This after Delaware's Department of Agriculture says more than 10,000 chicks, ducklings, and other birds were found abandoned in boxes. We now know the state says the chicks came from Freedom Ranger Hatchery in Pennsylvania, and some were shipped as far away as Washington. First State Animal Center says most of the chicks were adopted by locals, families, farms, and other rescues. Seafood business owners are noticing people are not buying crabs. They say the demand has not been high this season. A bushel or half a bushel of crabs can range between $100 and $250 depending on the size. However, Kohl's Seafood says it's still a luxury for most. Kohl's Seafood says business during Memorial Day weekend was also slow for sales. And we have some very good news. Hong Kong's twin panda cubs finally have names. Meet Gia and Didi. These were the results of a naming competition. Giant panda Ying Ying gave birth to the cubs at Ocean Park last August. The twins were nicknamed Elder Sister and Little Brother until their official names were decided. And the time is now 6:56. Bob, it's tough to follow up after news of baby pandas. They're pretty adorable.
They look adorable, but you don't want to hug them. They got big claws. You know, they're bears like any other bear, right? Our weather today, we're looking at increasing clouds and temperatures that are rising, well, a little bit. We're looking at lots of clouds as we go into the afternoon, only around 70 for the high. Here's your Paul Davis 10-day forecast. Yellow alert Wednesday for rain. It's going to be heavy at times, 64. Upper 70s Thursday into the weekend. I still think we're looking at lingering showers even into the first half of the weekend. Dries out Sunday, then we finally see some summer warmth next week. Not so much Monday, but then lower 80s Tuesday. And by Thursday, we're seeing 86 degrees, Elisa. How about that?
That is good to hear, Bob. Well, thank you so much for joining us here for Coast TV News today. The Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m. and then we'll be back for Coast TV Midday at 11. And for even more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great morning.